Hello, hello, hello. We are back again for another episode of the wrap up with myself, Jamie Talks. Thanks again to the West Ham Network for having me on every week. Now, let's get started, shall we? I'm just going to wait for a few of you guys to actually get in here. As always, I am struggling with the stream, so apologies for if you cannot hear me, but I should be coming through loud and clear. Let's get started. How does everyone feel about the Aston Villa game? I'll start with my thoughts. Personally, I was over the moon that football was back. I absolutely love Premier League football. I'm a massive fan of West Ham. I'm definitely a club man over a country man for sure. I always watch the Euros, don't get me wrong. And on the other 1 second. Here we go. Yeah, I always watch the Euros and international tournaments across the summer. But I very much see myself as a club man over a countryman. So I was 100% happy that football was back. It was really good to be back at London Stadium. Obviously, seeing some Premier League football in what was a good game and a tightly contested affair, and obviously a tough opponent. How do I feel about the performance? Again, I think lots of people online at the moment, fans, are obviously just arguing, and it wouldn't be West Ham fans if they weren't arguing about something with it. I think for me, I was happy with the performance. I think at halftime we went in at 1-1. I remember sitting in the stadium thinking we were getting dominated in periods, and it looked like two different teams in a way where Emery has had his hands on at Aston Villa for 18 months. They got top four last year. They have an established way of playing football, an established squad. They're better than us in general, and they're all well drilled and knew exactly what to do. It was Emery's team on the pitch, and I think that was super evident for the full 90. And then I think for Lopetegui, on the other hand, I mean, everyone was shocked with the starting lineup. There wasn't enough of the new signings, people were saying, and things like that. Where was Wan-Bissaka? Where was Tadibo? All these players that were expected to start the game. Where was Fulkrug, for example? There was lots of kind of discussions around that. And I think across the 90, I mean, I've seen it. I've been putting it on socials over the last few days and whatnot. I don't know if any of you guys follow me outside of the West Ham network, but there was definitely some teething problems in our build-up play. And I think there was a little bit of an identity crisis in some of our players that played under the David Moyes era and some of the new players that have come in. So I think it was definitely teething problems, and we saw that in our build-up play. I think players were being asked to do things that they weren't necessarily comfortable of doing or had done in their careers before. So I think that was why we saw some of the individual errors that led to Villa goals and things like that. But I think across the board, I was happy with the performance. I don't think it's a shame to lose to Aston Villa. I think Aston Villa are a good side. They'll have top four aspirations again this year, and obviously they're playing Champions League football. They've also had an incredibly good summer, and I think I had question marks before the game whether they've replaced Douglas Luiz well, and that time will still tell. But Amadou Onana came in that game and was impressive, super impressive, and then obviously it is the typical West Ham way, isn't it? That Duran would then go score and get the winning goal. But other than that, I wasn't too worried about the results. I'd be keen to hear what you guys think about that as well, because there's lots of people that are upset, lots of people not too upset. But I think it's early days in the rebuild. New manager, new style of play, half the squad are new. And I think we're on to something good here. I think things will start improving going forward. So let's get into some of these comments. So I can see some of you commenting in here. Hi to everyone, guys. Hope you're all doing well. Cameron, starting off the stream with, do you think a midfield of Soler, Paquetá and Alvarez will work? Yes. Yes, I do. You'd probably go with Alvarez holding. You'd probably go with like a double pivot of Alvarez and Soler and Paquetá in front. That's probably the most balanced it would be as a midfield. and Soler would be more of a roaming. Paquetá would float in front, and Alvarez would be there as a destroyer. But I do think it has potential to work. But also, it's a bit of a broad question because I think it's dependent on who we play. So I don't think we could necessarily play that against the side where they're going to have the lion's share of the ball or something like that. I think it's going to be that is a high quality midfield, but I think it's going to be dependent on who we play as to how effective it is. Obviously. Here we go. All right. How many games do you think it will take for Lopetegui to find his feet this season? Well, I think we'll see major changes this weekend. I think, obviously, by the end of the game on Saturday, there were multiple players that came on and made their debuts. Obviously, we had Somerville come on, we had Fulkrug come on, Todibo and Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I know Guido Rodriguez obviously started. So I think it will be I don't necessarily be a moment where he finds his feet. I can imagine progressively over the next few weeks, he will start understanding what he can expect from players that were already here at the football club and also get a gauge of what his strongest side is. I think we're playing Crystal Palace at a good time as it looks like they're losing Joachim Andersen on the week, before the weekend. He'll be going to Fulham, and who knows what happens with Mark Gehi, of course. But I think it's a good time to play Crystal Palace. And I think I would expect changes this weekend from what started on the weekend. Just as a result of those players actually being available, they've also got another week in the tank of training under the new manager and whatnot. So I don't have an answer as to when he'll find his feet, but I would expect, some changes in the next few game weeks for sure. Obviously, we've got Crystal Palace, then we've got Man City at home, which is obviously you expect to lose those that latter game. So I think by the return from the international break, I would expect Lopetegui to be fully at home with this squad because by that point the transfer window is shut, and obviously right now there's still question marks over a number of the West Ham squad, even players that started on the weekend. So I think once the transfer window is finished, we're back from the international break. I imagine by that point Lopetegui will have a real gauge of the strongest squad that he has. I think he's already got an idea anyway, by the way, because of the players that he brought in alongside Tim Stein, of course, and they've got an idea of what they need to strengthen the squad and play the way they want to. So I think they have an idea of what their strongest squad looks like. I just imagine they're on that way there and probably feeling out players that are already in the squad to see what they can bring to the side. And obviously there's a lot of people talking about, your Soufals and your Souček. Souček's on the weekend, but on another day, Souček might have finished that game with 2 goals and a penalty win for us. So it's interesting to see. Let's have a look. Some positives and negatives. Like to say that it's good bits and improve on the bad. Yeah, obviously 100%. And I think there were definitely good bits. You could see what he was trying to, the style of play he's trying to implement. We definitely have more of the ball. Obviously, I think the stats behind the ball, obviously the most important stat at the end of the day is goals conceded and whether you get 3 points at the end of the day or not. But West Ham fans haven't been kind of privy to seeing possession-based football in quite some time. And we saw that under Lopetegui. I know we came out of the game obviously losing 2-1 and lost the game largely down to individual errors. But obviously we had more possession and more passes, more shots and whatnot. And I think the more time under Lopetegui, the more... I think if we played Aston Villa in another... I think it was a bad time to play Aston Villa as well, by the way, because they're not tired now either. But I think if you play Aston Villa in 6 weeks' time, once West Ham have got a few more, a few more notches on their belts or whatnot, I think it would have been a tighter affair. Let's have a look. I am watching Rivals fans that West Ham are adopting. You reckon, mate? Yeah, I don't think West Ham are a dusty club. I think we're on for a good season. I think comfortably top half. I actually predicted us to finish 8th, which I think is very doable, I must admit. Helen, nice to have you in here. Knew it would be hard to integrate all new players. Lopetegui has lots to think about. Oh, of course. Yeah, of course. And I think I kind of mentioned it above in terms of like once the transfer window's closed and we know who's still at the football club, I think Lopetegui can then make a real assessment of what his strongest side is. Louis coming in with, do you feel we'll sign Duran? I believe the most recent communications out of like some of the ITKs around the club are that it's not going to happen. I would I wouldn't say never with signings into the club, but I think it's a very much a one out one in situation with West Ham now. So I think we would need to lose squad players before we bring in any other players. And truthfully, I know Duran scored on the weekend. I don't know if we've got space for him now, because you're looking at, you know, two strikers that we have in the squad already, you know, Antonio and Fulkrug. We have Bowen that can also play there. We have multiple wingers now. People like Luis Galame, for example, didn't even get him in the squad on the weekend. So I don't know if we need another forward, unless we was to lose one of those players, of course, which I hope we don't, obviously. Upton PK, good to have you in here, mate. Not worried at all about Saturday's result. Villa are a good side and we're in development. Looking forward to the rest of the season. Couldn't have said it better myself, mate. Absolutely agree with you there. And Darren agrees with you also, mate. Well said, Upton PK. Let's be frank. I don't mind waiting for the new players to gel, but it won't happen if he perseveres when Antonio, Souček, and Soufal and Jones Ward-Prowse. I actually don't think they're first choice anymore, mate. But I think some of those names you've got there, mate, are options. I don't think they're the option, as in they're the players that start, but I do think they are a plan B or a plan C if we are struggling in games. You know, imagine we are 70 minutes until game, it's 0-0, we need a goal. Nothing wrong with bringing on an Antonio or a Souček. You know, I think having Soufal there is good cover. I think James Ward-Prowse is obviously an adept centre mid as well, can obviously fill a hole and help us in all the cup competitions, and can also play for us in the Premier League. Obviously, he had an all right season last year as well, and obviously we haven't seen it in a West Ham shirt yet, but he is incredibly gifted from set pieces and from free kicks specifically. So I do think they all have a part to play in the squad, and I think what West Ham have really struggled with over the last few years is squad depth. You know, we've seen it with countless European campaigns where we've kind of run out of steam, and you know, we've gone into Christmas being flying high in the Premier League, and then come the latter end of the season where, you know, players are dropping like flies for injuries and whatnot, and we're not being able to sustain any kind of charge on the top six. So I think the stronger our squad, the bigger our squad, the more quality we have in our squad, then I think we can definitely challenge further up the league. And I think it also gives us other options and squad depth, which I think is super important. That's not saying that I don't think if any of those players were to leave that we couldn't bring in, you know, better quality players, but it's all dependent on what the recruitment structure at West Ham are looking at right now. Agreed. I think we'll know more after lock changes and the match this week for sure. Lee, good to see you, mate. Evening, mate. How you doing? Freddie, looking forward to Aaron Wan-Bissaka to start on Saturday. Do you know what? I want to talk a little bit about Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Soufal in particular. And I think we saw on the weekend a lot about that. But we'll get into that in a bit as well. Teddy, good to have you in here, mate. Not worried about the result. Palace, I think, will be a different sort of game in our favour. If we start with a back four, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, John Clare, Tadibo, Kilman, and Emerson, or we can switch to a back three. I don't think Lopetegui will go with a back three. Unofficially, obviously, he'll start with the back four, and then going forward, it'll probably come into a back three where someone like a Soufal or a Wan-Bissaka will tuck in, and that's what we saw on the weekend was going to talk about. So you're not far off, but I that there would be my dream start. Back four. I think we could win as well, mate. I do. Although when we're away at Palace, we don't always get quite lucky. I think we're giving him until Christmas, but if not, he keeps playing Souček. Do we think we could get points from Chelsea and Fulham in upcoming weeks? Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Why not? I think they'll both get outable for sure. I think Chelsea are a bit of an enigma. We don't really know what to expect from Chelsea. And Fulham we have to be beating Fulham. They're the games you have to go into expecting to beat them. Hopefully another striker. The three we have now are not good enough. Antonio is a spent force and Fulkrug isn't good at all. Barty overrated. Oh, YouTube user, mate. You are anonymous, and I don't know if I agree with that. I think Antonio still has a part to play, and I think Fulkrug has had no opportunity. For every team, the football they play in August is no indication of how the season will go. Martin, you're always in here speaking the truth and being very factual, mate. I appreciate it. I feel like we need more Martins in the fan base, because I'll tell you what, if we did, then I don't think we'd be as erratic as we are as a fan base. Thanks for that, mate. Appreciate that comment. Colin, Chilvers says, evening, Jamie. Always good show. Appreciate that, mate. Loppy needs time, but hopefully not too long before he gets it right. Kilman, Tadibo, Mavro, Alvarez, Somerville, Paquetá, Rodriguez, Kudus, Fulkrug, Bowen in a 1-3-1-4-2. It's audacious, right? Okay, let's have a look at this. So you're going with a back three in Kilman, Tadibo, Mavro, Panos. Alvarez in the one. Alvarez is injured. A four of Somerville, Paquetá, Rodriguez, Kudus, and Fulkrug and Bowen up top. It's an audacious starting 11, mate. You might know something that we all don't. YouTube user. Again, signing Fulkrug destroyed our chance of getting Duran. We desperately need a top-class striker. FYI, right? Okay, this is why I'm not fully on board with this argument. John Duran a year ago was playing in the MLS, all right? He barely played for Aston Villa last year. He scored a handful of goals. What evidence have you got that he's world class, other than the fact that he's 20 years old and has a bit of promise? All right. Fulkrug has got like 30 odd goals in the last 2 seasons in the Bundesliga, was like pivotal in Borussia Dortmund getting to the Champions League final. You know, like has just scored goals, like good goals at the Euros. I don't know what you define as a top class, mate, because Fulkrug has done a hell of a lot more in his career than what Duran has. And I don't know what world you're on, mate. Callum Dawson, evening, mate. I wonder how many out of that big list of potential outs we're actually prepared to sell this window if we have theoretically got offers for them all. Well, yeah, I don't think the club would want to sell them all. I imagine they've got they're open to offers from any of those names. But I actually think like someone like a Thomas Souček is actually quite valuable for the football club, and I think he can play a part. I don't think he necessarily starts week in, week out, but you know, I do think he can be an option for this football club. And I know that's going to upset some people, but even on the weekend, let's just say, you know, he won the penalty for us. He's the reason we got back into the game. Let's be clear, whether it's soft or not. And he also had 2 goal scoring opportunities. And in previous years, we've seen Thomas Souček score plenty of them. He scored many, many big goals for us. You know, game-winning goals as well. Like even last season, I still think Thomas Souček can play a part for us. I do. Not saying you want to get rid of him, of course, but I know he's a character that splits opinion in the West Ham fan base. For me, I think he can offer bits to this side for sure. We have to give the manager time. We need to buy a young striker. Chris says, agree, don't see any of them starting all good enough for the bench. How would you set up Saturday, Jamie? All right, let's do this then, Freddie. For me, I would go with a 4. Let's go. I would go with a 4-3-3. I would go with a 4-3-3. And I would start with Areola in goal, of course. 2 centre-backs would be Tadibo and Kilman. I'll play Kilman on the left-hand side, Tadibo on the right. I would start with Wan-Bissaka on the right, and I would start with Emerson on the left. So it's just quite a standard back 4. Midfield, I would have Guido Rodriguez holding. To the left of him, I would have Paquetá. And then to the right of him, I would either have Thomas Souček or James Ward-Prowse. If we get Carlos Soler over the line, I would have Carlos Soler. Right-hand side, I would have Jared Bowen. Left-hand side, I would have Kudus. And then up top, I would have Nicholas Fulkrug. And that's probably the starting 11 I would go with, if I'm honest with you, mate. So, I'll say it again. Areola, Tadibo, Kilman, Emerson, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Rodriguez, James Ward-Prowse or Souček, Paquetá, Bowen, Kudus, Fulkrug. And you can't even see my hand, so that was pointless. How would you set up, Freddie? Let me know down below, mate. We won't hit the ground running as some fans wanted, but we'll still have the opportunity to be in contention for Europe coming into the season, I think. Other teams will struggle, Man United or Spuds. Good show. First time watching. Top man, Chris. Appreciate you having here, mate. Appreciate you being in here, mate. Hi, Jamie. Should we be concerned if Agard leaves and we are left with just 3 centre-backs given our goal against record? I don't think Agard's going to leave. I think obviously they're trying to get rid of Zuma first. preferably you'd want to go into the rest of the season with at least 4 centre-backs. And I think Agard is actually the type of centre-back that can actually do well in a Lopetegui system. So out of the list of names that the club are listening to in terms of transfers, there's a bunch of names I'd rather sell ahead of Nayef Agard. Is Fulkrug a big upgrade on Antonio? I don't know enough about him. In my opinion, yes. I think he's a better striker than Antonio. Antonio is an incredibly effective footballer. You know, people forget that he's played pretty much everywhere for West Ham, and he's West Ham's top goal scorer for the club. You know, we came in and he was a right back. He's played right wing. He's played everywhere, really. I think when you think about, you know, strikers, you know, your traditional strikers, Niklas Füllkrug is your man. He scored a hell of a lot of goals in Germany over the years. Specifically in the last couple of years, he scored big goals. He's got like over 30-odd goal involvements in the Bundesliga in the past 2 seasons. Obviously, had a huge season with Borussia Dortmund. And obviously, was pivotal for Germany in the Euros before they got knocked out. Was important for Borussia Dortmund in the Champions League. Scored the winning goal against PSG to get him into the final. He's a very accomplished striker, and he can be an asset for this West Ham side. People obviously want to talk about his age because he's not 22 years old. But if we had a 22-year-old striker with this ability, people wouldn't be having this argument. He's in here again with his anonymous account. Right, Füllkrug is overrated and is going to struggle against the much faster Premier League defenders. Go look up the speed stats of Füllkrug at the Euros, mate, and then come back and comment because he isn't that slow. You've just been paying too much FIFA, mate. Aaron Wan-Bissaka has to start so Bowen can then play with more freedom. Yep, true. I agree with you there, Teddy, mate. There we go. Because I feel Soufal stops Sim from doing everything he can on the right-hand side. Füllkrug won't suit our style. Sorry, mate. Richard, please comment down below what our style is, mate, because if you're commenting that, you don't know what a Lopetegui striker looks like. Damien D'Amico, good to have you back, mate. Not here to wind you up this week, but you can't possibly think Füllkrug was a better option than Duran. You're paying for potential and then proven quality. Do you want let me ask you this, guys. Who's more likely to get 10 goals in the Premier League this year? John Duran or Niklas Füllkrug? You tell me. Why are some already given Julian Lopetegui a timescale when we are just getting over Moyes' ball? It baffles me. Get behind the man and support him. Just look at the squad we've got now. Come on, you irons. Ken, I love it, mate. I want to get that tattooed on me. Great words. Top man. Richard, we need a striker who is mobile when Füllkrug isn't. That is incorrect. Go look at his goal that he scored in the literally a few months ago against PSG when he's beating some of the best centre-backs in the world, and tell me he's not mobile. He is definitely mobile. Play Füllkrug with Somerville on the left, Bowen on the right, and have Kudus and Paqueta in the middle behind him. I don't think that works, unfortunately. I think it might work in fantasy football, but I just can't see that working. I don't think you can have Kudus and Paqueta in a midfield. I think you leave yourself too exposed in the modern game, unfortunately. Neither of us won the bet. Antonio was poor and Füllkrug was anonymous. Füllkrug came on in the game when we're chasing it. It's unfair. Come on. I'm a bit nervous about Saturday. Not sure what team Lopetegui will pick, and also not sure of his tactical acuteness, I believe. Appreciate that. Where would you play Solanke, behind Son or in front? Hey, we've got a Spurs fan in here. My thoughts about Cornet. I imagine he's done at the football club. I can't imagine him getting a game anymore. I think we've signed so many players this window. I don't see how he fits in. Teddy, my setup for Saturday is Areola. Same back four as you, Jamie. Top man. With Paqueta, Rodriguez, Kudus in the 10. Give Somerville a start. Füllkrug and Bowen. Yeah, everyone wants Paqueta and Kudus in the same midfield. Like, I love it in principle, but I just don't know if it works. I think it's very attacking. You leave yourself so exposed in the midfield. You're just going to get outnumbered because Kudus is going to get forward. Paqueta's going to want to get forward. I know Paqueta gets stuck in, but Kudus is so magic on the wings. He was our most important player on the weekend, you know? And I think you miss that if you bring him inside. We haven't seen enough from Somerville to have that spot either. Honestly, I don't know where this hatred for Suchek has come from. Yes, I understand not liking the style, but to hate the geezer, a sad side effect of social media, I'm afraid. This is exactly how I'd say it. Jimmy, what a man. That's an interesting question. Do I think Bowen is the right man for the captain? I mean, when you look at the team currently, I don't know who else you pick. Personally, I think, James Ward-Prowse, his future at the football club has got question marks around it. So I'll bring that back up, actually. Yeah, James Ward-Prowse has got question marks around his future. He's probably the most logical choice outside of Jarrod Bowen as a striker. Sorry, as captain. I think Jarrod Bowen is obviously he's married into the West Ham family, understands what it is to be a West Ham player, synonymous with culture. West Ham obviously scored the goal in a winning final and whatnot. I think he obviously understands what it means to be a West Ham player. So from that perspective, he would make a great captain. When you look at other candidates across the squad, I don't really know who else you'd pick. Maybe Edson Alvarez. I think he has very much the material to become a captain. Also think Max Kilman as well was obviously captain of Wolves. But then outside of that, I don't think there's many that you pick. I don't think you pick Max Kilman because he's a new player. Maybe as vice captain, maybe in a year or two. I don't know, but Edson Alvarez maybe. And I think I know it's not very old school to pick a forward as a captain, but I think Jarrod Bowen is the most logical choice in my opinion. I think everyone else that's been around the squad for a longer period of time is probably on the verge of exit from the club. The only other person I can think of is obviously Aaron Cresswell, but I think he's only just signed a year extension. Like he was on the verge of leaving the club like a month or so ago. So I don't know who else you'd pick. It'd be interesting to hear your thoughts to it. Who would you go with, mate? Souček must be told to manage his midfield position because he crowds our attacking players and prevent Patman from going forward to create chances. Might have a point there, Dalton, top man. Füllkrug needs more than 15 minutes a game. He certainly does. Füllkrug is the German Jordan Hugel. Okay, mate. I don't know what you want me to do with that. I think Duran is a better player today. I disagree with you, mate. Right. What do you think about the game on Saturday? I'm looking forward to it. Jamie, who do you think the potential signing could be? That's an excellent question. I don't know. I think you look at players out there that are available at the moment. Obviously, you got names like Trevor Chalobah, not wanted by Chelsea. Raheem Sterling, not wanted by Chelsea. Who's, dare to dream we could be going in for Raheem. Who knows? Ben Chilwell is obviously available, but a lot of these players are obviously going to be on high wages. I wouldn't want an injury-prone player in someone like Ben Chilwell. But with the news breaking that Raheem Sterling's available, who knows that the club could be going in for someone like that. Obviously, Trevor Chalobah's been banished from first team, facilities at Chelsea. He could be an option, maybe with a loan with an obligation to buy down the line. I think Carlos Soler is the one that's been heavily touted around, but it could be anyone, couldn't it? Who would you like to bring in? We'll talk again in January about Füllkrug. I hope I'm wrong, but this ain't Germany. Top man, Richard. Let's talk again in January, mate. Lopetegui has managing at the top level. Real Madrid X. I think it's safe to say he knows what he's doing. He certainly does. He's got a very adept CV. Didn't really work out for him at Real Madrid, unfortunately, but he's got rebuilt his career at Sevilla. Was super important for them. Obviously did well at Wolves, did well in the Spanish youth side, was doing well for Spain, and then got sacked on the eve of the tournament because Real Madrid announced that he was going to be the manager after the tournament. So that was pretty shocking. Kev, good to have you in here, mate. Hope I am well. How are you? Right. Rich Irons, Kelty. Good to have you in here, mate. Right. Everybody thinks if you're a quick striker, then you're a world-class wonder, where the likes of Terry Sheringham would be in this process today. Okay to Füllkrug's strengths, and he'll play to Füllkrug's strengths, and he'll score goals. Do you know what? You got a point there, Rich. So Füllkrug may not be the most lightning quick striker, but he is lightning quick in the mind in terms of decision making. And he is the kind of striker that will turn on in the box. He will make quick decisions to get in behind and get a yard on a defender and stuff like that. And West Ham haven't had a striker like that in a while. Ironically, when we had players like Haller and Scamacca at the football club, we didn't play a style of football to suit them. Whereas now, a Lopetegui striker is expected to drop back in the hole and bring players in around him, so he drops deep, gets a ball, holds the ball up, and then offloads it to a winger or a player playing in the half space like a Paquetá or someone like that. So Füllkrug's strengths can be, can be shown a lot in this West Ham side, and I really think he's going to have a good season. I do. Fulkrug is a current option. He is better than Antonio and more consistent, in my opinion. There are so many questions about Duran. After a few years, we move on from Fulkrug and we will know more about Duran. Mike, you're a good point there, mate. Let's put it this way, guys. If we brought in Fulkrug on a couple of years or whatnot for it isn't the longest deal in the world. I think we have him for like 2 or 3 years. If he scores 10, 15 goals this year, right, and he helps us get 8th, 7th in the league, and we're back in Europe, is anyone thinking about John Duran? I don't really care, to be honest with you. Like, John Duran, clearly a very promising striker, clearly was held out of the side last year by a top Watkins at Aston Villa, and there's no shame in that. But he's relatively unproven in his career as well. Obviously, scored a good goal on the weekend and did well when he had an opportunity for Aston Villa last year. But he's relatively unproven. He's got a handful of games in the Premier League, handful of games in the MLS, handful of games in Colombia. Like, Fulkrug is proven talent. He is proven talent. I don't know what you expect. You're just angry because he's 31 years old. If Fulkrug was 22 years old and he had this ability, no one would be having an argument. He also wouldn't be playing for West Ham. Let's just make that clear. He'd be playing for one of the European better clubs. So just understand that we got a Champions League final caliber player on our side, rightfully so. Damien, top man. You don't think Kudus is shackled on the left? I actually don't. I think he was our most important player on the weekend. I actually think, comparatively to Jarrett Bowen, he, and it's largely because of the wing-back selection, I actually think he had the ability to affect the game on the left-hand side because of how Lopetegui sets up. So, no, I think he can play well there. And we saw it in the second half. He was lighting up Aston Villa. And on another day, he might have scored, he might have had 2 assists. He had the Thomas Soucek last minute kind of, I know we'd switched by that point, the Thomas Soucek obviously skying it over the bar, and the Antonio back post header that he missed as well. So created a hell of a lot of chances throughout the game. I'm starting to get worried about who Lopetegui will start. I haven't got anything against Soucek, but he doesn't work with the Lopetegui system. Let's hope Lopetegui grows some balls and picks most of his signings this week. Would you agree James Ward-Prowse had the worst season of his career last season? I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that. He's a good steady Eddie for a Premier League club, and I think he did the job. Like, he scored lots of big goals for us last year. I think back to the Tottenham game where he scored the winning goal. I think he bought into the West Ham culture, scored a lot of big games, scored in a lot of big games, got us a lot of points on the board last year. So I don't necessarily know if it's been the worst season of his career. No. He's been relegated with Southampton, to be clear. Right. Daniel, Jamie, evening. Good, mate. How you doing? I'm guilty of passion and believe 7th is possible this season. I think we are all guilty of passion. I'm with you there, mate. I'm thankful for every signing and can't wait for Lopetegui to silence all negativity like we're seeing right now. Exactly that, Daniel, mate. You'd think we're bottom of the league, wouldn't you? Jamie, mate, I've supported West Ham for 56 years. Top man, Colin. 4-4-1-1. Kudus just behind Fulkrug. Some of them on Bowen down flanks. Same back four, mate. Would get Jimenez and Chalobah. Then he could play right of 3 centre-backs. Not a bad shout there, Colin, mate. Thank you for joining the stream as well, pal. Happy Hammer in deal. Kilman for vice-captain, but Bowen needs to be given the chance to show his qualities. Stuart, Alvarez for me, but he gets a lot of yellow cards. Does Soler start? I think he does, but again, I think it's dependent on who we're playing. We need to get Samu Amarodian from Atletico. Chalobah would be a very solid signing. I'm with you there, Matthew. I agree with that one, mate. Delton, there are so many comments tonight, guys. I'm struggling to keep up. We appreciate it. Kilman should be captain because he has that experience and he can see the game from the back. Bowen will be distracted from his attacking role. Teddy Wise. Top man, Teddy. We're agreeing on everything, mate. You're right, Jamie, about Rodriguez being isolated in midfield. So instead, I would put James Ward-Prowse alongside him with Pac-Man in the 10, Goose on the left, although we don't play his best on the left. So many pedantic fans. We lost one game and already want some want Lopetegui gone. We're in the transition. We will have a strong finish second half of the season. Just you wait and see. I think we're going to have a good strong first half as well. from what I've heard, Fulkrug isn't even that slow. He's not Callum. Look, like, honestly, his stats at the Euros, he was one of the fastest players at the tournament. Your thought of Potts going down on loan to Portsmouth? It's a good club, super historic club, Portsmouth. You always want to see him do well. And obviously, Potts had a great season last year at Wycombe, so hopefully he can replicate that in a higher division. And come next year, he might even have a place in the West Ham squad. Fingers crossed. I've said it before. Gomez is a Liverpool who can play across the back four. I'm with you, Ken, but he's super expensive. I think Liverpool want about 45 million. So it's a bit pricey. I don't think they consider a loan either because I think they have they haven't brought anyone in either. So I think I don't know what their business is, but I don't know if we'd be able to afford him. Unfortunately, it'll be Duran next summer after Mickey and Ings leave, in my opinion. Just a gut feeling. The surprise signing will be another striker to play alongside Fulkrug. You want to go two up top? Interesting. Duran's goal for minutes ratio is the best in the league. What does that mean, Damien? Come on, mate. What does that mean? I said that he obviously he impressed when he came on for Aston Villa, but he's got a handful of games. That doesn't by any means determine that he's a top quality striker. Russ and Anton still want Duran. I mean, I wouldn't say no to Duran. I just think there's other areas in our squad that we could do with bolstering, like centre mid. Correct. Fulkrug strengths. I said Fulkrug will get us enough goals. I agree with you, mate. We need two solid midfielders to allow Paquetá to be creative and support the forwards. Agree. Mo has just had a slow start as there, but quality was once he grew into the game. I'd rather go for Jimenez at Feyenoord. I think a very similar profile player to Fulkrug. I don't know how we both fit them in. It could be a bit pricey as well. I know not Forrester after him. I hope you're enjoying the sun, Ralph. Top man. Been a great servant, but I think having Antonio as a starter is now sailed. I agree. All right, mate. Well, interesting. YouTube user. He's commenting again. You're anonymous. I don't know who you are. Sorry, nothing can convince me Fulkrug is a good choice. Waste of money. Sorry, just not a fan. Absolutely gutted when he signed. Should have gone for a Meridian of Atletico. Absolute beast. Okay. Let's see. Time will tell. We should have both Fulkrug and Duran fighting for a place to sell both Antonio and Ings. I think the club side tried to sell Danny Ings, but I don't think he was going. Top man. All right, I've just realised your name's Ralph enjoying the sun. I hope you are enjoying the sun, mate. Top man. YouTube user, I was planning to leave Fulkrug criticism alone, but you're egging me on. I'm with you there, mate. I think Max Kinman got a lot of hate on the weekend as well, but I was impressed with what I saw. Let's try and get through some of these comments because there are bloody loads of them tonight. Top performance from all you guys. Right. I thought Kilman was solid on Saturday. Andrew, I'm with you there, mate. And Damien agrees with you also. I thought he was probably our second best player on the day behind Mohamed Kudus. Hi, Jamie. If we sign Soler, could we possibly see Souček on the bench? I think that's the plan. Soler has worked with Lopetegui in the Spanish youth system. So the manager knows the player. I think what the side misses right now is a ball-competent box-to-box midfielder that's versatile and can cover both ends of the pitch. Soler also plays at right back at times as well, can cover there. So that's interesting. Not that I think that would be particularly needed, but I think it's interesting that it shows off his defensive capabilities in the side while also, look at his numbers and whatnot in terms of ball carrying and progressive passes and things like that. I think that kind of shows off his attacking side of his game. So I do think he can offer something to his West Ham side. And I think if he comes in and we do get that over the line, then I think Thomas Souček probably does drop to the bench. But I think Thomas Souček is always going to be an option, just not maybe option A. Might be a plan B or plan B or C or whatnot if we're struggling in a game. Stuart, this could be the boldest shout of the stream so far. I think we're going to get top 6. Martin, I could completely understand Bowen's choice as captain. A good choice for me. I'm with you there, Martin. I agree, mate. Evening, Jay. How you doing, mate? Been seeing this rumor about a possible big surprise signing in the last bit of the window. Think X has posted about it and seen elsewhere. You believe it? Any ideas, Jay? It could be anyone. I feel like we've been linked with so many people this window. I really like the idea of from Kone from Mönchengladbach. I really like him. I think if we get Soler, it probably won't happen. But other than that, maybe like a Trevor Chalobah. I like Trevor Chalobah. Or, and this was very rogue, I said it earlier, Raheem Sterling. Can you imagine Raheem Sterling? Let's comment that one in. Raheem Sterling as the surprise. Let's get that in there, by the way, guys. I'm intrigued. I want to know. Callum, the main thing I took from Saturday is we desperately need another good ball player in midfield. Perhaps Fofana is that surprise since Milan deal seems to have stalled. Do you know what, guys? I'm so behind the chat that you're all replying to me after. Right. Andrew, remember when Lingard came back with Man United and scored the winner? Always happens. Let's see how Duran has done coming into the season. Agreed, mate. Love your analysis, mate. My overall view is top man, Jimmy. Appreciate that, mate. My overall view is Moyes was great for the time he came in, and I thank all those responsible for those last 4 years. However, it was time for a change. We just need to be patient. Jimmy, couldn't have said it better myself, mate. Watching Malmo versus Sparta, and the Swedes are singing the song to the tune of "Lay All Your Love on Me" by ABBA. Simply wrong. Cockney Boy 76. Do you think YouTube user is Duran undercover? It could be. He could be. Would be interesting if Soler comes in. Think would mean Souček on the way out or James Ward-Prowse. Who do you prefer to leave out the two? I actually would pick other players in the squad to leave over the both of them. If I'm honest with you, I think Kurt Zouma is the one that is probably the first name to leave. That is probably on his way out. The team has been obviously in Dubai for a couple of weeks. I don't know if I'd necessarily get rid of either of them yet. I think it's good to have some quality on the bench for midfield. So yeah, that's my opinion on that one. If I'm honest, I think once you lose Zouma, there's probably names in the squad that I would go to before those two personally, because I think they both offer something different to what anyone else in the squad does. Souček is just, a nuisance, and James Ward-Prowse has exceptional delivery. So if you need, something last minute, then they could both offer something different. Kilman would have been my man of the match, but we lost, so that went out the window. I think Kilman was a really good signing for us. I'm with you there, mate. And all right, this is the last YouTube user. Just so you know, this is the last comment I'm reading out. Antonio has passed it. Ings will be sold. That leaves just freaking Füllkrug. We are one injury away from a striker crisis. Can't keep playing Bowen there. A striker is a must and a priority. Okay, interesting. Good take. What do you all think about that in the comments, guys? Let's get this one up now. So Raheem Sterling, obviously you're all asking about surprise signings. Would you take Raheem Sterling? Interestingly, I don't think it's very realistic, unfortunately. I say unfortunately, I don't even think he starts for us nowadays. I think Jared Bowen and Mohamed Kudus operate at such a high level for us. I think that he wouldn't even get into the starting lineup. But I do think he could be an option. Who knows? It's clear that Chelsea don't want him. I think there's value in some of the Chelsea players that are being let go that we could actually potentially latch onto. It's a shame about Ben Chilwell. I think on his day he's one of the best left backs in the world, but unfortunately his injury record is abysmal. But I think he could play a role for sure if he could keep fit. Raheem Sterling is obviously Raheem Sterling, can offer a hell of a lot. Even last year, he's probably one of Chelsea's best players across the season, other than Cole Palmer. And then obviously Trevor Chalobah is the real one that I would like to pick up. But Raheem Sterling could be an option. So Fortune's hiding down under TV says no to Raheem Sterling. Ralph says no to Raheem Sterling. Sterling, I know from me, great player, but high wages, and we're pretty comfortable winners at the moment. Doesn't start over Bowen or Kudus, and you demand a starting place. I agree. No thanks to Sterling. Greedy, not a team player, and on far too much in terms of wages. He does. This YouTube user doesn't like anyone. No to Sterling from Fremer. Defo keeps Souček and David Ward-Prowse this year as squad players, but next year hopefully Potts and Orford are ready to take senior place. No to Raheem Sterling, wages too high and misses too many chances. I'd leave Sterling alone. has skills, but too many issues. As soon as I see Sterling was available, thought it would be quality. Tenor out wide, wages would be a sticking point though, although he does prefer to stay in London apparently. Phil, that's exactly what I thought, mate. I thought you could offer something for sure, but I think wages are going to be too much. The pleasing thing about this season is the unknown each game will play. Sorry, let me read that again. The pleasing thing about this season is the unknown each game will be played to a designed way to play the opposition. That is a lot more exciting than cut and pace. Exciting times at West Ham. Yeah, I agree, mate. That defeat to Villa may end up being a blessing in disguise. Let's be honest. We would have been fortunate to have got a draw. The result would have hurt Lopetegui. I think you will see a big reaction at Palace. I think you're there, mate. Jamie, we missed the boat last season, not signing Fofana. Moyes vetoed. I put bet on top 4. 16 to 1, 50 quid. Still think it's possible. Colin, mate. Beers are on you, mate. If you get that bet, I'll start calling you Mystic Colin. Gaz, what is wrong with fans not giving Fulcrum a chance? He hasn't had the minutes or services yet. Come on, you eyes. Daniel, good question, mate. Who's your possible hammer of the year? I reckon if played regularly, some of it was a good shot. Good shout. Looks mustard. Yeah, I agree with you. I think he looks sharp, doesn't he? I think my hammer of the year this year, I think it's going to be Mohamed Kudus, though. I think he's going to be our most important player. I think we saw it on the weekend. He was the best player on the pitch by a country mile, especially in that second half. And I think he's really going to kick on in his career last year. In his career this year. And I can unfortunately see him leaving, very soon. No to Sterling because of his wages. GP says he wouldn't mind Lukaku. Heard Cornet is off to Turkey. Sterling, I don't know. Honestly, that could go either way, but it'll be a big either way as well, which leaves a 50-50 chance of unwanted drama. Cheers, mate. We'll be all right. I'm with you there, Jimmy. Sterling still hasn't learned to play with his head up, and he's also almost retired. Some never learn. He's not even 30 yet. Ricardo, good to have you in here, mate. Where are you watching from in America? Right, American West Ham fan here. Would love to see a USMNT player on West Ham. Maybe Yunus Musa from AC Milan. Good to box midfielder on the ball, versatile and can play right back. With you there, mate. I would have taken him before he went to AC Milan. He was available, but I don't think we went in for him. And I would have taken Christian Pulisic as well. I think Christian Pulisic can offer a lot. Outside of that, there's not too many. Maybe some Canadian players like Jonathan David, for example. I like him. Who's the right back that's just gone to Juventus as well? Scored on the weekend. He could be a good option. And then maybe like a Tyler Adams or a Weston McKennie. But I don't think they'd start in the side. Tony, Sterling and Zaha. That's who Glenn wants. Do you think Ariola is bad at commanding his area, or is it just me? What do we think, guys? Let Malkster know down below. I think Sterling's wage demand will be very high. I'm not sure who will come in for him. I'm with you there, Martin. I actually had this conversation with a couple of mates earlier. I don't know the next destination for Raheem Sterling. I got question marks about it because I would still say he's at the level of the top 6, but I don't know who signs him. I think it would be complete blasphemy for a Chelsea player to go to Tottenham, and I think he'd several ties there. He could maybe fit in at Tottenham. Don't think Arsenal need him. Don't think Man United need him. Man City definitely don't need him. I don't know where else he goes. Could he fit into someone like an Aston Villa? Maybe, but I don't think he fits their mould of player that they want. So I'm really confused with where he goes unless it's abroad. I think West Ham is, it's a feasible destination, but I don't think we play players those kind of wages. If YouTube user isn't the round undercover, it could be Moyes. It could be. Might have to deploy a bonus striker until Fulkrug settles down. No Sterling at the wrong end of his best. Give Fulkrug the service and he will remain. And we will rename him Full Goals. Come on, you irons. Ken Leach says Sterling is over 100 grand a week. We've got that problem already. Delton, here's your tip. So let's if we all agree with Delton down below, let him know. This is his team for the Palace game. Ariola, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Kilman, Tadibo, Emerson, Rodriguez, Alvarez, Pac-Man, Kudus, Somerville, Fulkrug, Bowen. Jamie, I will not take Sterling. What about Jack Clark? Wouldn't be against that. We were linked with him last year as well in January. Sunderland player, super promising. Ex-Spurs as well, so could be getting something back on Spurs. Sterling for me isn't up to speed, and I don't think he would suit us. I don't think he would be keen either. I think he would just be Lope's golden boy when there's nothing good about him. You asked me a question last week, Jamie. Who improves us most of the signings? Has to be Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I'm with you there, mate. He's my favourite signing of the window. And let's talk a little bit about the Palace game. I'm just going to get a comment in here, guys. I will get through your comments, but I am trying to play catch up, and you're all commenting too quickly. So I'm going to go rapid on the next few ones. So I had a £20 bet on us finishing top 6 and £10 on us finishing top 4. John, I hope it comes in for you, mate. Ian says top 6. Why can't Kudus play up front? He's not a striker, mate. Anyone that reads too much into fussy game of the season? First game of the season is crazy. Never mind a new manager's first game too. The numbers from the game showed we had a different way of playing compared to 23-24. Would you take Adam Armstrong? No, I wouldn't. What it's like, say Russ, Jamie and Anton were having a hot tub party. Russ could cook the burgers, but he's best at being DJ. Yeah, you're not wrong, mate. You're not wrong. Tony is a good shout for last minute if Saudi doesn't happen for him. I think he's too expensive. Again, I would though. Jonathan Davies is a striker we should have signed blistering pace clinical finishers. I think we've inquired in the past, but I think his manager wants a 10. So I think his agent wants a 10 million fee himself, let alone the fee for the player. I always thought Pulisic was a top player. Evening, Jamie and chat. Hope everything is well. Top man, Lucas. Good to have you here, mate. Hello, Jay. Good to see you, mate. I would have loved James McAtee from Sheffield United or Burton Diaz, who just joined Southampton from Sheffield United. Top man, Ricardo from San Francisco. Lookman would be a nice surprise. Ooh, I think he's been linked with PSG, though. I don't think he'd come to us. Juventus came in for Sterling weeks ago, but never official bid. I think they've signed Salamanca since. He's a top player as well. Anyone who plays Football Manager knows all about him. I think we go back 3. I think we go 3 at the back. Dino, Tadibo, and Kilman for Palace. I'd definitely go with that lineup, company-wise, given Lopetegui a call, mate. Good evening, all you beautiful people. Howard, what a man. Rumours we are back in for Jonathan Moore at Norwich, but don't see it. We'd have 2 up front Saturday. Barry, the man himself. How you doing, mate? Need a backup left back for me. Don't feel confident in Chris Wood to play similar to Emerson. He's not available. Carter Moreno is going Forest. I'm with you there, mate. I agree. Would have loved Moreno. I think the club will finish 8th this season. That's what I said. Also, top 4 is a bit of a push for me in the first Loppy season, in my opinion. Arnie Antonio weren't strikers. They didn't do too bad. Kudus has the talent to do it. He definitely has the talent to do it. I'm not disagreeing with you there, mate. Enjoying the chat tonight. Ian, what a man. Right, I've called up with comments. Okay, let's get in here. We're going to go for a little bit longer tonight, guys. I'm going to stop in 5 minutes. We're going to usually I go about half hour, but I'll go for the 4 hour tonight. Crystal Palace Saturday. What are your score predictions? Right, I want to get nothing but score predictions in the chat now, guys. All right, here we go. Let's throw this one up here. Okay, Crystal Palace Saturday. Ignore the question mark. Don't know why I've done that. What are your score predictions? Now, for me, Howard's coming in. I'm going to give it a few seconds before I start throwing up some of your answers. Right, but I actually think we're going to win this game. I do. I agree with you all so far. I think this game is going to be important for us. I really do. And I think it's going to be important for a multitude of reasons. Now, the starting lineup on the weekend obviously was not ideal. It wasn't necessarily what anyone really wanted. There wasn't enough new players that had come into the club that really started. But I think this week, we're a week on. I think those players have had another week of training under their belts. And I think they'll come into this starting 11. So players like Aaron Wan-Bissaka, your Tadibos who came on late, I think they will start the game. I think Somerville will want to start the game. I don't know if he will. I don't think he starts for us at all at the moment, but I think Fulkrug could be in for a shout as well because Antonio wasn't effective enough. So another week under the belt, I think a lot of these sides could come in, and I think it would be closer to what a Lopetegui strongest 11 or Lopetegui 11 would look like. Saying all this, we never do well at Palace, so I am concerned about that. I've seen us lose at Palace multiple times in my life, and it's never a nice place to go. I love the ground, don't get me wrong. It's good for a home fan, not good for an away fan, but they are losing potentially one, if not two, of their starting centre backs. So it'll be interesting. The most important thing for me is, and I'm going to get really comfortable for this bit. So let's do a little bit of an analysis from the game on the weekend. So Soufal, out of all the West Ham defenders, received the ball statistically less than any other player. And the reason behind that is what's expected of a wing back, specifically a right wing back in a Lopetegui system. When we were going forward, we were coming into a narrow back three. So you'd have Emerson roam forward, and then Soufal would come into the middle, and kind of we'd go into like a narrow back three, so to speak, and attack as a back three, as well as Emerson going into midfield to provide numbers. And we saw that, Emerson had goal scoring opportunities and things like that. But I think Soufal on many occasions was caught out of position, especially on the counter. And I think that's testament to not playing the game, not playing his game. Now, I think we saw a real insight into why Lopetegui has gone out and signed Aaron Wan-Bissaka, because Aaron Wan-Bissaka is not known for his ball playing qualities. He's known more for his defensive capabilities in the game. I think everyone knows that. It's no secret. But he can also do the basics well, which is the most important thing. So I think hopefully we'll see Aaron Wan-Bissaka come into that starting lineup, and we'll see him tuck in, but also play the wing-back role that Lopetegui will want of him. And I think that will make the side look a lot different. I think Jared Bowen was having to come back a lot on the weekend and facilitate an out-of-position Soufal at times, and that affected the impact that Bowen had. And I think with a Wan-Bissaka behind him, we could be a lot more dangerous as a football team. But let's get into predictions. There's loads coming in here now. Really appreciate how active you all are. So Howard is going bold. Top man Howard, 4-1 to West Ham. Andrew says 3-1 to West Ham. Teddy goes 2-1 to the Hammers. Mike says 2-0 to the Hammers. Stuart Burt 3-1 to the Hammers. I'm assuming that's 3-1 to the Hammers. Desmond 2-2 from Cockney boy. We'll go 2-1 West Ham. 2-1 from Steve. 2-1 from GP, I should say as well, mate. Sorry. 3-1. We win 3-1. Top man Daniel. Matt Foster thinks 2-1. Darren thinks 2-1. Axel thinks 2-1. Phil's going with another Desmond. Ian 3-1. We exact long overdue restitution. 3-2 at the Irons. 3-1 from Barry. Caduce, Bowen and Somerville goals. Lucas 2-1 Irons. KJ Fair. Sally was in attendance to 5-2 thrashing at Cellar. So was I, mate. I was there filming. With Copper 90. One of the worst days of my life. Wasn't fun. Was not fun. Ben Gullett says a tight 2-1 win. I would love it. The unlikely 3-0. Soufal, James Ward-Prowse direct free kick, and Danny Ings. Do you know what? Anyone that's a better, like anyone who does like match betting or anything like that, guys, what are the odds on that? What are the odds on a Soufal goal, a James Ward-Prowse free kick, and a Danny Ings goal to win 3-0 away at home at Palace? I would love to know the odds. And if that comes in, Jay, then I think we're all millionaires. Sadly, we will never do anything at Palace, and Dodgy Ref again. I'd sadly 1-2 at Palace. Wan-Bissaka and Tadibo start, then 2-1 to us. I'm not optimistic, but could we concede to place with that back line? In my opinion, I can't see it. Palace are in the mud. They've sold sold most of their best players, and I don't seem to be able to. Yeah, I agree. It's a ref game lottery from Glenn. Sorry, mate. Here we go, Damien. No problem with Fulkrug starting over Antonio next week. Antonio didn't do enough to keep his shirt. I want to see what Fulkrug's about. I agree with you, mate. And I actually think they've both got roles to play this year. I don't think it's 100% Fulkrug's shirt just yet. Christine, good to have you in here. Thanks for commenting. We need to win. Don't want Man City. Yeah, don't want to go into Man City with 0 points. Yeah, that's a good point. We're playing them on the 31st of August, aren't we? It's the next game at London Stadium. 2-1 to West Ham. Love to hear it. Good time to play Palace with Elise gone and Anderson off to Fulham. I agree, mate. I wouldn't mind seeing Bowen and striker, Kudus on the right, Somerville on the left, and rotate them and have Paquetá playing centre attacking midfield. Pair Rodriguez, Jada Rupert, and get Emerson and Pasaka. It's not a bad start. Not a bad starting lineup, mate. I like the sound of that. Seriously, though, I see Aaron Wan-Bissaka making his debut at Selhurst Park. Imagine that. Tadibo, I didn't think of that. That's a good point, Jay. Selhurst Park, crazy. Tadibo and the full crew starting for first time too. Scoreline 3-1. Full crew, Bowen and Kudus. Love it. Aaron Wan-Bissaka is such a good signing, and I agree, mate. And I think we're going to see how much of a good signing he is. When he starts. We were chasing the game on Saturday. It wasn't a fair assessment of the player, but he is such a good player. Such a good player. He's such a good coup for the club. I'm really happy that we got him, mate. I'm with you there. Ken, 2-0 to West Ham. Bowen brace from Andrew. Any fantasy Premier League players get Bowen in your side, he's going to score a brace. 2-2 this weekend for me. We rarely win at Palace. I agree, mate. 3-1. Kudus brace and full crew. James Ward-Prowse free kick ain't too unlikely. It's not, but he ain't done it yet. 2-1 to the Irons from Simon. Colin, thanks for commenting again, mate. Jamie, mate, I think we will win 3-1, but we have to start playing the back four of Emerson, Kilman, Tadibo, Aaron Wan-Bissaka from now on. They need to work together to get an understanding. Colin, yeah, I agree. Couldn't agree any more, mate. Ask James. He would love that one. He loves a bit. Do you know what? I'll message him now, actually. I'll message him now and see what he says. I love him. I love E20. Like every time I jump on his show, he's always saying, about the match bets and whatnot. I did a match breakdown after the game with him, I think, on Sunday evening, and it was hilarious. It was hilarious. 2-2 from John. I rate Palace's new manager. Thankfully, Elise has been sold. I can see Bowen scoring. Lots of you saying that tonight. I'd love to see Antonio get at least 5 or 6 goals this season. Bowen, our best player, always gives 100%. Top man, that's why he's captain. 1-1 from Danny Boy. Zuma bicycle kick. Why not? He's got enough practice for catch. Right. That is the best place to end the stream, guys. I've gone over an hour tonight. I only usually do about 30, 45 minutes, but I appreciate it. It's been good. Really appreciate everyone in the chat tonight. I, for one, am buzzing that football's back. I said at the start of the show, I am a club man over a country man. I always watch the Euros. I always watch the World Cup, but nothing compares to watching West Ham on the weekend. It was so good to be back in the stadium on the weekend watching us. Even though we lost, there's nothing better than it. And I cannot wait to see West Ham play Crystal Palace. I'm not going to the game. If any of you are going to the game, feel free to take pictures, tag me on social media and whatnot, and rub it in and whatnot. And I am hoping we get a win from it. Oh, and before we do go, Colin, top man, donating £5 to the channel. What an absolute legend. Top man, Colin. Appreciate it, mate. Andrew thinks it's good for Bowen to lead from the front as a captain. Just going to go through the last few comments. Sue Fowl, James Ward-Prowse and West Ham to win. Not free. It's 1,000 to 1 on Sky Bet without Ings, as they wouldn't give odds. 1,000 to 1. Can you imagine? Everyone stick a fiver on that. All right, everyone stick a fiver on that. Joined late this evening, but a great chat. Not often managed to watch the live ones live, but glad I got to tonight. Jay, top man, thank you for watching, mate. Really appreciate it. Barry doesn't want to see Souček and Soufal start at Palace. Steve, that's why he's our captain, Andrew, and now married to West Ham blood. Come on, you Irons. Don't come on, Bowen. Right. Zuma never felt like captain. Feels Bowen as replaced Noble. It's an interesting take. Barry, top man. Jimmy, top man. Christine, great to hear from you. Howard, you said it best. Hit the like button. Thank you for watching as usual, guys. I'm always here at 9 o'clock on a Wednesday for the wrap-up, or Jamie Talks Live, whatever we're calling it now. Really appreciate the guys having me on again. Like and subscribe to the West Ham Network. Go and check out their new channels that they've set up in the last couple of weeks. They're doing a hell of a lot of content, helping people like me, little creators, have bigger audiences, and I'm super appreciative for it. It's always great coming on here, talking to you guys. So yeah, appreciate it. It's been a pleasure as always. Enjoy your week. Stay safe, stay healthy, and come on, you Irons.